Meet Wadeema, a young girl whose story shook the very foundation of Dubai, casting a spotlight on the hidden realities of abuse. This wasn't just about one girl, it was about many. What happens when a child is trapped in a nightmare, hidden behind the walls of seemingly perfect society? Wadeema's story is a chilling reminder of the horrors that can unfold in the shadows of privilege, where a father's cruelty went unchecked and a child's cries for help was silenced. This is not just one tragic case. This is the dark reality for countless women and children in UAE. In this episode, I will reveal the untold truth behind Wadeema's tragic fate and expose the system failure that leave mothers and children vulnerable, abandoned, and powerless. Don't turn away. This is the truth that must be seen. Wadeema was an 8-year-old Emirati girl who, in 2012, became the symbol of an epidemic of child abuse in UAE. The events surrounding her death are chilling, and her case is just one of the many that rarely came to light. Wadeema's tragic story highlights the deep flaws in the country's legal system, especially when it comes to protecting children and women from abuse. Wadeema was born to a father, Hamad al-Shirabi, and a mother who at the time was in relationship with him. Her early years were marked by neglect and cruelty at the hands of her father. Wadeema's mother had custody of her, but tragically, she was unable to protect her daughter from abusive father due to the father's influence and control over the family legal affairs. Custody battles in UAE often favors fathers, and in Wadeema's case, the father retained significant power over her life. At some point, Wadeema's father gained full custody, though reports indicate her mother's ongoing struggle to keep her daughter safe. While the details of how she was taken away from her mother aren't fully publicized, it's clear that Wadeema's access to her mother was so limited, and this separation created an environment where she was left vulnerable to abuse. In 2012, Wadeema's life came to a tragic and brutal end. It was revealed that her father, along with his girlfriend, Alanud Al-Amri, subjected her to months of horrific physical abuse. Wadeema was tortured in ways that no child should ever endure, including being burned and beaten. The abuse was so severe that it ultimately led to her death. Her body was later found in shallow grave in the Sharjah desert, buried by her father and his girlfriend in an attempt to cover up the crime. Wadeema's father was arrested, and the story made headlines worldwide, drawing attention to the dark realities of the child abuse in UAE. The outcry from the public led to the passing of Wadeema's Law, officially known as Federal Law No. 3 of 2016. This law was intended to protect children from abuse and neglect, covering aspects such as physical harm, emotional abuse, and neglect. The law also aims to ensure that children's rights to education, health care, and safety are respected. However, while the law exists on paper, its enforcement had been questionable. Critics argue that it has not been effectively implemented, and many cases of abuse continue to go unnoticed or unpunished. There are still significant cultural and legal barriers for reporting abuse, especially when the predator is a father or male relative with the custody rights over the child. The focus on male authority in the UAE legal system often sidelines the protective rights of mothers and children, leaving them vulnerable to harm. The worst is that Wadeema's case is not unique. Unfortunately, her story is just one of the thousands of children in UAE who are subject to neglect, physical and sexual abuse by fathers or male relatives. In many instances, mothers struggle to keep their children safe, often finding themselves helpless in the face of the UAE's custody laws, which tends to favor fathers over mothers. It is not uncommon for fathers to use their legal custody right to further control the mother and child, sometimes confiscating the child's passports, ensuring that the mother cannot take her child out of the country. This leaves mothers and children trapped within the UAE, unable to escape their abusive situations. In some cases, abuse, including sexual abuse, had been reported, but often goes unpunished. The social stigma surrounding abuse, especially in family matters, keeps many cases hidden. Fear of retaliation or losing custody entirely keeps many mothers from speaking out or taking legal actions. For many, the legal system in UAE fails to protect them, leaving children to suffer in silence. The tragic case of Wadeema brings to light a far-reaching issue that continues to affect women and children in UAE. While the government has taken steps to address child protections through Wadeema law, much more need to be done. For real change to happen, there needs to be a shift in how custody and child protection laws are applied, particularly in favor of protecting children from abusive fathers. Until that happens, thousands of children will continue to suffer in silence, and countless mothers will find themselves powerless to protect their own children. Wadeema case, although widely publicized, it's only one of many that rarely make headlines. The sufferings of mothers and children in abusive households must no longer be ignored, and it is essential that the UAE legal system evolves to protect its most vulnerable citizens, its children. This is just one tragic story. Many more go unnoticed, hidden behind the glamour and luxury of the UAE's glittering facade. As painful as Wadeema's story is, it teaches us that even in the darkest times, hope can be found. We must open our eyes and act. Act now.